Hello! Today's Saraswati Puja. Somebody told me, and what we used to do in Saraswati Puja. Anyway, I mean, the goddess Saraswati is main for learning, studying, and all this stuff, right? I think it's really interesting to discuss some of the aspect that today actually we can learn. And in today's world, everybody have their own idea, and they look for ways to execute their idea to see some end products. And even I have done all these things, but what I realize is that of course having an idea is great, but how do you execute it, and how do you execute in a structured way? See, the thing is that today I was going through one video of Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk. So the owner of the Tesla, SpaceX, and whatnot. So what he used to tell, uh, see, in entrepreneurship, or I'd like to say, if you want to build something, there are lots of stuff you need to experiment. It is not like that, you are, end of the month, you are going to get some salary. There is no any kind of fixed, or if somebody has defined some work, like somebody has assigned and you are going to deliver. So entrepreneurship for new innovation or anything, something like that, there are lots of experimentation, there are lots of assumption, hypotheses you need to make actually. So in the process, you are bound to fail in some extent. I'm not considering, I'm not telling failing as a whole, but in situation to situation, in step by step, you will feel definitely hurdles. And as Elon Musk says that you need to reduce the intensity, and reduce the how actually you can minimize the extent of your failure. So that's how it's all about. And in this discussion I'm going to tell about my story. And also it actually it's a common structured way of building some kind of product or innovation, like how actually you can minimize the risk. So entrepreneurship actually it is considered to be, it's a risky game. So the thing is that how actually you can minimize the risk by following some kind of structured way. So that's how actually we are going to discuss, and I'm sure it is going to be very much helpful if you are actually really interested to build some new company, new product, or anything, or new innovation. Then definitely it's going to be helpful for you. So let me start actually my with my own journey. So sometimes I used to think that is it really worth building some kind of product, because it takes lots of your effort, time, energy, and whatnot. And if you are actually a family man, definitely you may need to sacrifice lots of your family time. So that is the question. I mean, is it really worth it? And but the thing is that, can you afford not to try it? So that is the question you need to ask at this point. So even though if you are curious to build something, but haven't got the opportunity to test it out or try it out, so I think this is the right time to see how, where do you stand actually. So that is the main question you need to answer yourself. So coming to myself actually, so I have been interacting with many startup founders of my own age, and who have been also working, and also trying to do some kind of their own product, and try to, that are also trying to see their own potential, what actually they can solve some of the real problems. And they are mostly in the early stage of their building their project. And I also met many successful mentors who are still running their own ventures, including many of the industry leaders like VP of Product and Engineering, and in many of the well-known MNCs. Okay, so I mean, that's how actually I'm actually trying to acquire the knowledge from those the people who have actually gone through that path. And another thing is that I was deeply inspired by the commitment and the dedication of their ventures, and which I feel it is kind of a brain child for them. And while I talk to many of the friends, and they also sometimes express that building a startup is a dream for them. And so this conversation is going to be all about that. So in this conversation, I am going to share my own experience, how actually I was doing my own hands-on building a new product initiative, and learned in a hard way. And I have gathered my own experiences, from my experience, and I have also consulted with many of the experienced leader entrepreneurs. And so it's all about that actually. So I'm going to share my own experience, and I'm very hopeful that you will get some pointers to execute for your own product, or the venture you want to build. See, I mean, I'm an engineer. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of the engineers have not tried to build something of their own and made their hands dirty in new product development, and try to give part of a new digital product. So I was also actually one among them. So probably if you are in that field, I think that the conversation is going to be quite relevant for you. So I started with building various mobile products to solve my own problem, like application. I was building some application. That time I was very passionate in cycling, so some kind of application like GPS tracking app to locate the different cyclists, live location. And during that time, WhatsApp was not even released for their location sharing features. I was also building some application like so you used to get lots of messages from banks and all, like, so I used to parse those messages and try to calculate how is my monthly transaction is going on. So kind of automated basis. Nowadays, the mobile applications, I mean the banking application provide, but during I'm talking about around 10 years back, that I was playing around all these application and some kind of experimentation. Yeah, so that's how actually it started my curiosity to build something, and how actually I can release to the world so that they can earn, and I can build some self sustaining product out of that. Okay, so finally what I have learned is that, so it is not only about the problem, but the problem you solve. So actually, the dollar is into the problem that the people wants to be solved, and here actually I'm going to share my own structured way of solving the problem. As I told, I have been guided from many of the industry leaders and mentors. So I think it's a mixed experience of my own experience, and also from the guidance that actually I have been fortunate to get from those mentors. So I have been around this running community in various places in India. As I told, I was quite passionate in running, so I thought of building some product related to in running, and just try it out. How a new product building looks like, what are different stages, and what it takes to build such kind of product. So it just started based on just my curiosity, and I observed the struggle of many runners in various stages of their running experiences and their running goals. So I actually genuinely wanted to help the people who want to improve their running pace or the distance, or somebody want to uh, fulfill their own running goals. So maybe someone who just want to finish their first 10 kilometer, or someone just want to continuously uh, run for 5 kilometers without a break, and somebody who are a little bit experienced who wanted to break their own personal base in some running event. Not so that's how actually I started my own research, and many of the mentors also started uh, you know based on their actually suggestion, I started researching deeply about their pain points, the runners pain point and the unique need of running. And I made couple one-to-one connection with the runners, and I have also shared around you know I think more than 500 surveys, to understand their needs actually. So that is one of the key aspect of any product building before actually you build it, right? So formally, we mentioned it as a job to be done, and many a time we think that getting insight from a user's conversation is It's an automatic activity, but still there is a structure to be followed. And the hundred of response coming from the survey and fill, I mean, it normally it's get filled my Google Sheet. And next we need to do is to find some commonality. The commonality may be any kind, like it can be based on the people who have certain running goals to be accomplished, on the geography. As I received responses from different geographical location across the world, actually from India, Singapore, Europe, US, you just name it. And one of the thing I was also focusing, like willingness to pay. That is one very important factors you need to consider while actually before building your product. And one interesting thing is that survey responses help me to prioritize those segments, so who is have willingness to pay and have a bigger mass of the users, such that the product has a good adaptation, right? And it also helped me to brainstorm about what unique value I can actually provide based on the users. I mean, in this case, the runners did. So initially, I assumed, deciding a market segment is easy, but however, actually, what I found that you need to consider lots of factors before deciding the segmentation. I have considered myself to be actually it's a milestone again if you can actually able to find a good segment. So even my mentor helped me to come up with a right market segment, that has the potential to grow and a good, we call it as a, TAM, the uh, targetable, accessible market. And as a business leader or an entrepreneur, so this decision is very critical. So in my practice, we have decided two segments in my product, like people who are busy in their life and also feel the necessity to be fit and healthy. And all these were derived from the responses that actually we have gathered from those survey response. And we have created a value proposition, after going through the few of the structured approach, like empathy map, jobs to be done. And actually it also helped me to in deriving my creating my go to market strategies. And the next step was actually assume few of the hypotheses on the problem, market segment, and also the willingness to pay the pricing. So this is very critical step, as as keeping this would actually make you spend a lots of effort and resources unnecessarily. So I think uh, this is a must have. So you should actually go through this process. Give me some time, I'll be back. Oops, oops, oops. So that's how. So see, another thing is that uh, you need to it's a very critical step that you go through that research phase, because it will eventually help you to come up with your prototype. Yeah. And so for my product, the prototype was nothing but a landing page. And so where actually I was actually sharing my positioning statement, also the different value proposition with different packages. So it actually, and one of the it was a very exciting, okay, and I cannot express the happiness, I was getting to see my prototype as a website, that whether you will get to know whether your problem will be is a valid problem for the user's point of view or not. So another very interesting part was to integrate some of the other user tracking tool, like Microsoft Clarity, where actually you can see where the people are actually using your website, where is their cursor moving, whether they are clicking your sign up button or not. So this is very interesting, right? And so after launching this landing page, right? So every day I used to go to the landing page and Microsoft Clarity, site, and see how different users are actually using. So it's really amazing if you are building for the first time. Okay. And actually it actually proved a realistic method, so where your value proposition is aligned with the target users or not. And so another thing is that parallel to this activity, you should also keep in mind your positioning statement. This is very critical. Again, you need to derive your positioning statement from your survey responses. So while brainstorming about your positioning, it also involves what users considers about other competitors' product, right? So ideally, you should have got to know from the customer interview itself. And in GTM, there is a separate topic called positioning canvas. So in an advanced way, you can actually even use some data analytics to come up with a positioning canvas that actually we can take it in a different session. And so we call it as a perceptual map. And perceptual map, you consider users rating to know their ideal brand in their map. And you would be amazed how actually you can utilize this to make your own, competitive positioning and, differentiating aspect. So we'll also talk, GTM in a separate, session. So because it's a vast topic. So one thing that excited me most is, seeing the users sign up in my landing page, as actually I was telling about. And while users of the your product, the next question will come that, uh, you know, mm, are you going to give it for free? Because you need to make a sustainable product and business, right? And if that is the case, how will you survive, and how will you bear your software development costs, marketing costs, if you are actually trying to seriously build your product, right? So you need to think about all these aspects. So next questions comes, how actually you are going to price your product. So pricing is very critical factor for any product. And what, after actually discussing with many mentors, what I have realized is that many of the companies could have been make some good profit, but they are still not making that level of revenue based on their pricing models were not efficient. So you need to actually focus on the pricing as well. So we can also discuss in a separate conversation, and definitely it will be in depth. And displaying price is also important in your landing page, prototype, because you need to showcase upfront your cost of your product, and also the value of your products, as that they can relate that, okay, that it is really worth for them to buy at that price. And there are different pricing techniques also we'll be discussing. So once you have the traction in your landing page or the prototype, you need to start thinking about validating how you are actually going to serve the user. So it is okay not to build the actual product right away, and so experiment in a non-expensive way, in a lean manner, as the book says, the lean startup, right? And it's a very famous book. So, and the way we did while building our health tech product is to share the offering through WhatsApp and receiving the response. And those were, it looks very funny that you were actually getting the customer first and feedback from uh, WhatsApp, but that is another way of in a inexpensive way to getting the feedback from the users, right? So that is very much helpful, and based on that feedback, actually it helps you to create the future roadmap. And roadmap is also very interesting topic in product development. So we'll discuss in a next session. See, I used to actually visit lots of marathoners, after I created a prototype, and a fitness enthusiast, just to know their first-hand feedback. I used to get my mobile phone and show my real application or the prototype I have built. Their feedback actually helped me to decide that which technology I need to be using, or what kind of features I need to build, for the actual product. So this is extremely, extremely critical. So I still believe that the time I spend to meeting to those people and the interaction, and I'm also really grateful the honest feedback they have provided to improve my product. And another way I should tell that, it you also build a connection with the users, actually, or the people that you used to interact, right? So that is also very much interesting, actually, I feel. So another very important aspect is, you need to keep in mind a GTM. Okay, and while I talk about a GTM, actually, I'm just giving very brief about GTM. I won't be going very in depth. Okay, so GTM, actually in GTM you need to try out with different channels, and you need to, one of the thing you need to check is that, how much customer acquisition cost will be in that particular channel, and how much lifetime value you will be generating. So based upon that, actually you can decide various channels, and ultimately you need to finalize with very few channels, and those will be, you'll be targeting for your main marketing effort. So initially what happened to me, actually I used to think that, digital advertising is the only way to share your, actually messages or the, product to the world. But there can be, so that's the reason I'm saying, you need to try out with different marketing channels, or different ways to, showcase your product. So do not, just by uh, do not just, stick to only one channel. Maybe you may be looking that, okay, you see lots of advertisement in Facebook or Instagram, so due to that reason, necessarily you might be, thinking to share about your app in those channels. But that works, but apart from that also, you should actually try out, because you never know what channels works best. In my case, I was actually interacting with many of the, you know marathon organizer, because, I in based on my calculation, I was getting to know that, the customer acquisition cost by that, lifetime revenue. So it was more in that. So even though it was looks costly just intuitively, but, while doing that calculation, I got to know that it was one of the efficient channel that actually I could try. Okay, so as I talk about the GTM, so there are another part very similar. You need to aware of the financial, modeling, revenue structure and all. Okay, so revenue structure I am not covering here, but definitely, I'll take a different session. But just for now, think about all these terms, like, the how the unique various unit economic plays based on the different product offering for your product. So that is one of the point. And another thing is that, while doing financial modeling, because financial modeling is very important, because your product needs to be, self-sustaining, and you need to know the cash flow statement, and also the different, the financial aspect of that, so that you know that you are actually building in a way that, it can keep some kind of revenue after some time. So you need to understand few of the concept, like, cash flow, like net present value, internal rate of return. So there are different concepts, so probably we can actually, talk about that later. And so see, this financial stuffs are very important, because once you are going to pitch to your upper management, or probably you are also going to pitch to the VCs and all, so they are very much interested to know that how much you are going to make after 3 years, 5 years, as that, their investments are old, right? So that's the reason it is very important. And another skill set, if you can build, it's very helpful. It will be very helpful, like, you need to understand the different visualization way to showcase those, data and statistics. So that is another key point, you need to keep in mind. So I think this is all about very basically, if you want to build something, so these are the very basic terminology structure I have actually talked about now. So if you feel that I need to go much deeper into few of the specific topic, so please let me know in the comment. And to conclude, so I hope that, you got some kind of knowledge at the very high level, how, different verticals of a building a new product innovation, or the, new venture. So I hope that, it is going to give some kind of direction to your thought process. Thank you.